no doubt, but also from other more inscrutable motives. There must be a wonderful soothing power in mere words, since so many men have used them for self-communion. Being myself a quiet individual, I take it that what all men are really after is some form, or perhaps only some formula, of peace. Certainly they are crying loud enough for it at the present day. What sort of peace Kirillo Sidorovich Razumov expected to find in the writing up of his record, it passeth my understanding to guess. The fact remains that he has written it. Mr. Razumov was a tall, well-proportioned young man, quite unusually dark for a Russian from the central provinces. His good looks would have been unquestionable if it had not been for a peculiar lack of fineness in the features. It was as if a face modelled vigorously in wax, with some approach even to a classical correctness of type, had been held close to a fire till all sharpness of line had been lost in the softening of the material. But even thus he was sufficiently good-looking. His manner, too, was good. In discussion he was easily swayed by argument and authority. With his younger compatriots he took the attitude of an inscrutable listener, a listener of the kind that hears you out intelligently and then just changes the subject. This sort of trick, which may arise either from intellectual insufficiency or from an imperfect trust in one's own convictions, procured for Mr. Razumov a reputation of profundity. Amongst a lot of exuberant talkers, in the habit of exhausting themselves daily by ardent discussion, a comparatively taciturn personality is naturally credited with reserve power. By his comrades at St. Petersburg University, Kirillo Sidorovich Razumov, third-year's student in philosophy, was looked upon as a strong nature, an altogether trustworthy man. This, in a country where an opinion may be a legal crime visited by death, or sometimes by a fate worse than mere death, meant that he was worthy of being trusted with forbidden opinions. He was liked also for his amiability, and for his quiet readiness to oblige his comrades even at the cost of personal inconvenience. Mr. Razumov was supposed to be the son of an archpriest, and to be protected by a distinguished nobleman, perhaps of his own distant province. But his outward appearance accorded badly with such humble origin. Such a descent was not credible. It was indeed suggested that Mr. Razumov was the son of an archpriest's pretty daughter, which of course would put a different complexion on the matter. This theory also rendered intelligible the protection of the distinguished nobleman. All this, however, had never been investigated, maliciously or otherwise. No one knew or cared who the nobleman in question was. Razumov received a modest but very sufficient allowance from the hands of an obscure attorney who seemed to act as his guardian in some measure. Now and then he appeared at some professor's informal reception. Apart from that, Razumov was not known to have any social relations in the town. He attended the obligatory lectures regularly and was considered by the authorities as a very promising student. He worked at home in the manner of a man who means to get on, but did not shut himself up severely for that purpose. He was always accessible, and there was nothing secret or reserved in his life. End of introduction. Part 1, Chapter 1 of Under Western Eyes by Joseph Conrad. Part 1, Chapter 1. The origin of Mr. Razumov's record is connected with an event characteristic of modern Russia in the actual fact, the assassination of a prominent statesman, and still more characteristic of the moral corruption of an oppressed society where the noblest aspirations of humanity, the desire of freedom, an ardent patriotism, the love of justice, the sense of pity, and even the fidelity of simple minds are prostituted to the lusts of hate and fear, the inseparable companions of an uneasy despotism. The fact alluded to above is a successful attempt on the life of Mr. Depicts, the president of the notorious repressive commission of some years ago, the Minister of State invested with extraordinary powers. The newspapers made noise enough about that fanatical, narrow-chested figure in gold-laced uniform, with a face of crumpled parchment, insipid, bespectacled eyes, and the cross of the Order of St. Procopius hung under the skinny throat. For a time, it may be remembered, not a month passed without his portrait appearing in some one of the illustrated papers.